What's going on, and welcome into your casual gaming news conversation for this week. I'm Nick. That's Connor, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Co-op 64. Connor, how are we feeling on this 4th of July morning? Happy 4th to you, brother.
I'm feeling good. Yeah, happy to be here with you. Happy to talk about video games. A lot to get into today.
Yep.
So let's not dilly-dally. How are you feeling, Nick?
I'm feeling good, dude. It's a bad day to be a beer. It's a bad day to be one of my opponents in Spikeball. And it's a really good day to be a hot dog because I'm not having a single hot dog on this 4th of July. This is probably going to be the first 4th of July in like at least 20 years for me that I'm not having a hot dog. I love the 4th of July hot dog. It brings me so much happiness. It's gone.
I don't know the last time I had a straight up hot dog.
Oh, really?
I only have Skyline Conies.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I haven't had like a just hot dog with mustard, relish, any of that.
You
just had 9.
I did just have 9. Last year when I was watching a lot of Love Island and playing a lot of Call of Duty late night, Connor put the hot water on, throw a couple dogs in there at like 11 p.m. You ever have a late night dog, Connor? Shit's delicious, man. It feels a little bit like you shouldn't be doing it, but it tastes that much better. Oh my goodness.
Admitting on content that you boil your dogs is going to get a lot of flack.
Yeah, like it's how our parents did it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of just
quick dinner. Mom just needs to get us fed really fast. She throws a few dogs in some boiling water, stirs them up. We're good to go. I had no problem with it as a kid. Like I liked those hot dogs just fine.
They were good dogs, dude. I'm not complaining. But no, I'm excited. I do enjoy the 4th. It's one of my favorite holidays. Is it in your top 3? Is it podium for you?
Not really, but the only thing with the 4th of July is that we go visit our family usually, and that's a lot of fun. But that's not like, I don't know, I don't really like associate the 4th of July with that.
For me, I of course I associate the 4th of July with it because that's where all the memories are. For me, the 4th of July is podium. It's right beneath New Year's Day and Super Bowl Sunday. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl Sunday at that number 1 spot.
I'm saying it could be like any other weekend in July that we choose to go get together, and it would be this same exact situation.
I mean,
I don't like fireworks.
Okay,
like that's the big thing with the 4th of July. So like, I don't like that aspect of the holiday, and that's the thing.
I mean, for me, the holiday is you get together around 11 a.m. Like the fact that I'm going to this party probably at like 1 or 2 today after finishing up some stuff here, work wise and everything. But like normally it's 11 a.m. You get that first ice cold beverage in you. It doesn't even need to be beer. It just needs to be ice cold. And then somebody starts grilling up. You get the scent of these burgers, brats, and dogs. Oh my gosh. You know it's going to be a good day. You got some long games happening. You're having a great time. And then the night closes out with some sparklers and some fireworks. It's always a good day.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun.
Fireworks are so overrated, dude. You've seen them once. You've seen them 1,000 times. At this point, I'm just an old grumpy man being like, why is it so loud? I'm trying to sleep last night and now definitely tonight. And they're just going to be popping off, I'm sure, preventing me from going to bed.
Well, just enjoy playing some Death Stranding too and hanging out and listening to the fireworks in the background.
I'm too busy playing Luminous to play Death Stranding 2, Nick. Connor. I got in bed last night being like, okay, time to go to bed. Play 1 round of Luminous and then I'll pass out for the night. And I'm trying to. I think there's a trophy for getting 100,000 points in a run. Hit 98,000 last night and lost. And oh man, it was infuriating. This game is so intense though. Now that I've told you, like you have to tap the back of it, you can do it doubly fast if you tap with both fingers on the back. So
I'm 2 for 1.
I'm letting the piece drop slowly and like letting my ability recharge by just tapping away at the back. My hands like became numb. Like I had to hit pause and like shake my hands out and then like be like, okay, going back in. And then I did like another 10 minutes and then they became numb again. So I had to shake them out. I'm like, I'm dedicated to getting this 100,000 points. I need these abilities. I need to utilize this. But I do think that this is a flaw of that game. I really do not like the aspect that you have to charge your ability by using the back touch. That shit's so annoying.
Speaking of late night gaming, Connor, last night finished up stream at 10 o'clock. I was like, let's get some food in me because I had a light dinner. And so I ripped a couple bowls of cereal, threw on the latest episode of Love Island, having a great little close out to my night. I've been trying to like 11:15, 11:30 be in bed. And so no later than midnight, I'm asleep. But it's 11:30-ish. And all of a sudden I see Andy and Snow Mike boot up Rematch, and I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. That looks like they're having a good time. I have it downloaded. Let's just see what this game's like. Let's get through the tutorial. I played Rematch till 2:30 last night. This game is the definition of a 7 out of 10 that I'm gonna put so many hours into.
Yeah.
I'm about to say two very different games. It's the Marvel Rivals thing and it's the Concord thing of every single summer. I like to go in Fall Guys from a few years back. I like to go and play a multiplayer game that I can go and throw on a podcast and sort of just shut my brain off and have a good time with. Last night I'm listening to the latest MinMax podcast. It's a 3-hour podcast. I'm like, oh dude, I'm going to eat this up while playing some Rematch. And that's exactly what I did. Am I good at this game? Hell fucking no. Am I having a blast with it? Yes. Is it around that 7 out of 10? 100%. It's just a good game. It's not anything like crazy special or anything. Mm-hmm. It is truly Rocket League with people though. Like no joke, the amount of time.
Soccer.
I mean, like that is how that math checks out. Yes, it would just be soccer. Especially on the 4th of July. It's not football today. Every other day you can call it football, but today it is just soccer.
I watched left turn here, but I gotta let you know that I got to the Christmas episode of The Bear last night.
No spoilers, but
watched 2 episodes. We're like, okay, let's do a third. Turn it on, and like we were like halfway through the episode. I'm like, how long
it's an hour episode.
Is this fucking episode? And then I click on the thing. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, we were up way later than I thought. It was a good episode. People talk about that one like really highly though. It was a lot.
Yeah, I think that's like everyone top of their game. Every single person acting in that is just so fucking good.
I find John Mulaney in that episode so funny when he's talking to the facts.
Yeah.
And they're trying to sell him on the baseball card thing. He's like, I just want to see what's going to happen here. I'll give you the money. I want check-ins
It's
every
so
week.
good. He's like, this $500 is worth the experience and the ride I'm about to go on with these brothers. I laughed so much during that episode. I think we've talked about it on Casual Gaming Conversation, but same deal. I was watching that late night at the Rosses when I first moved up here and everything, and I'm on the couch and I'm like, cool, it's 1 a.m. I'll throw on like a quick 30-minute, and then it's 2:20. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this was a bad choice. I had the same experience with season 4. There's a longer episode there, and all of a sudden this past weekend I got messed up. Before we hop into housekeeping though, except for a weekend of Death Stranding 2 fun.
Yeah, I got to get back to it. I haven't played since last Sunday. It's Friday. We've just been busy with streams and such. And then yesterday I went to the game store and then hung out with Laura. So I got to lock in today.
Yeah.
Get some hours in, build some roads,
build some roads.
monorails. Yeah.
Rivers and roads, Connor.
Are you building roads?
Not really, no. You know how I do this.
That's the game.
I need to get guilty, Connor, and I'm not guilty yet. I need to get guilty that I've not been building roads and then realize that everyone around me is so kind and so amazing that I need to start helping out the planet.
Some people in the community have like found my stuff, which warms my heart.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked. I played a lot on Wednesday, and that's been a great time. Connor and I have had some... we don't talk about like scores before we do reviews or anything, but we've had some conversations about some moments in that game, and I assume that it's just going to continue on over the next week as we get ready for reviewing this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. You want to know what else is a lot of fun, Connor? Housekeeping. We do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/co-op64 gets you this podcast 3 days early, gets you the Casual Gaming Conversation 3 days early, and gets you a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation each and every week. You can get our Death Stranding 1 spoiler cast. You can get the PlayStation Battle Royale Dream roster and many, many more hours of podcasting at that lowest tier. It's like over 20 plus hours of content, probably closer to 30 at this point. Go check that out. It's a bunch of fun. We just shot our retrospect of the PS2, and that was a great podcast. A lot of fun talking about some of those memories with one of the greatest consoles of all time. At the next tier up, you can get exclusive content, including exclusive TikToks, the Co-op 64 podcast, and Recollecting Retro, which I believe you and I actually need to shoot real soon in the next couple weeks. It just posts when we're away, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do a collection of some sort probably.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that.
I want to do my consoles, just go over all the consoles that I have, which is quite a bit.
Your
It's just
dusty
a
ass
matter,
PS2.
just a matter of like bringing them all over here. That's gonna be
Your
kind of
dusty
a
ass
pain in the ass.
PS2 is here.
Yeah.
It's hanging out right over there. If you want to go and check stuff out like that in the future, though, make sure you're locked over on the co-op 64 Patreon page, and then at that highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast we do. It's July. So we have July names. It's an exciting time. So thank you for supporting over there. And you get the chance to have your topic chosen for the Co-op 64 podcast, which I believe we are shooting this weekend. So I'm very excited about that. Also, Twitch streams. We got a fun one. Yes, I'm still going through Metroid, Super Metroid on the Tuesday, Thursday. We'll see when that ends. We will be starting up Super Mario Sunshine after the vacation Connor and I are taking. So just a heads up there. But we'll be doing some fun multiplayer streams, some fun shenanigans. Maybe I'll hop into Marvel fucking Rivals, dude. I don't even know what's going to happen on Thursday and this next Tuesday. But no matter what happens, this is going to be a fun time. Monday, we are finishing the Pokemon Nuzlocke stream. Hopefully. I'll toss a hopefully at the end of that. But most likely, we are finishing the Pokemon Nuzlocke stream. You're going to want to be there to see the carnage that is going to be laid waste to these Pokemon. Hopefully that's not the case, and Connor just bodies everyone. But it's been a lot of fun. We are coming off of, in my opinion, the best Monday stream we've ever done. So a lot of fun, a lot of shenanigans, and I assume that there'll be a lot more shenanigans, like three men in their 20s arguing about Pixar movies. And on the Wednesday stream, I did what I had to do. I convinced Connor to have a little bit of fun with me on a Wednesday. We will be playing some rematch this Wednesday. It's going to be a blast. Once again, we're sort of just waiting out those last couple streams before we go away. But then Connor's going to be coming back with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, going through one of my favorites of all time. Very excited about that when we get back from that vacation. Discord, join the Discord. We have over 2,500 members kicking it, having a great time, talking games, talking WWE, talking about what they're doing on the 4th of July. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hop in the Discord, linked down in the description below. Merch, we're still in the transition of our merch stores. So if you want to go and get something real quick, they're sending everything out right now. I did get a notification from them being like, we're sending everything out right now. So just heads up there at co-op64store.com. Review us over on Apple Podcasts. Helps us, the show, get out to more people, and means a lot to us. We're very, very thankful for everyone that has gone over to Apple and reviewed us. And I've checked those reviews earlier this week. Y'all are really nice. So thanks for being so kind in those reviews. And then the comment section, if we mess something up during the show, please get in the comments down below and let us know what we screwed up so we can set the record straight on the next episode. All right, Connor. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Headline. All the Xbox games canceled and studios closed in Microsoft's latest mass layoffs. This is Eddie Machuk at GameSpot. Before we get into this one, Eddie did a great write-up and put a lot of good bullet points throughout this article and everything. This is just the overarching news of what just happened this past week in the madness. It's a little bit of a longer read, but there's a lot of studio closures and changes happening within Xbox. So stick with me as we get through this. Quote, Microsoft announced mass layoffs on July 2nd, impacting many areas of the company's sprawling business, including Xbox. Overall, Microsoft is said to be cutting 4% of its staff worldwide, affecting about 9,000 people. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer sent a memo to staff today addressing the cuts, claiming the job losses were necessary to allow for the, quote, enduring success, end quote, of Xbox. Quote, we will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in the removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness, end quote, he said. Moving on into the article, this is Eddie's write-up. He lays out every studio that is affected and then how they were affected. So first, we have Raven Software. Quote, Raven Software, an esteemed Call of Duty developer studio, is said to have been affected by the cuts. The studio co-developed 2024's Black Ops 6 and returns to co-develop 2025's Black Ops 7, end quote. Turn 10 Studios was affected. Quote, Forza Motorsports developer Turn 10 Studios was reportedly hit significantly by the Xbox cuts. A report said nearly 50% of staffs were let go, though it's not clear how many people this amounts to, end quote. Rare was affected. Quote, British developer Rare was affected by the layoffs too, with the studio's upcoming game Everwild canceled. The game was announced in 2019 and had been in development for reportedly 10 years before this decision came down, end quote. ZeniMax Online was affected. Quote, a new MMORPG from the Elder Scrolls Online developer ZeniMax Online Studios, reportedly codenamed Blackbird, was said to be canceled. End quote. The initiative was affected. Quote, one of Microsoft's newest studios, the initiative, is closing up shop, and its first game, A New Perfect Dark, has been canceled. End quote. High Moon was affected. Quote, longtime Call of Duty co-developer High Moon Studios has been affected by the Xbox cuts too, according to Charlie Intel. Quote, end quote. Sledgehammer Games was affected. Quote, another Call of Duty co-developer, Sledgehammer Games, has faced layoffs as part of the wider cuts at Microsoft. End quote. Blizzard was affected. Quote, Blizzard has announced that Warcraft Rumble support will not continue in its current form, while systematic events and bug fixes will still be made. No new content will be added. Aftermath reports that some Blizzard employees will shift to different roles while others will be let go. An exact figure has not been confirmed, but is said to be as many as 100 people. End quote. Halo Studios was affected. Quote, the wide-ranging Xbox layoff this week also affect Halo Studios, the development team formerly known as 343 Industries that is working on multiple upcoming Halo titles. End quote. Connor, that's a lot. That's a lot of studios. That's a lot of layoffs. That's a lot of cancellations. What is your mindset when talking about something that is this level of carnage and layoffs and studio closes and just all this? Where are you at?
I mean, from the top of it, you have to acknowledge the people who are losing their jobs and how terrible that is and how this is going to affect so many lives. And that's incredibly sad and saddening to see in a game industry that is doing, generally speaking, from what we understand, pretty well financially. Microsoft just posted like a really good financial year, and now they are cutting these jobs across the board and for seemingly no reasonable reason. If they're making that kind of financial gains year over year, that it just sucks to see. And I am saddened by all of this sad news and everything. But when it comes to like the broader perspective of how this affects Xbox and their future and their games, it's just like anybody working at an Xbox studio, I feel like needs to be worried, and reasonably so, of the future of their project and their titles. A lot of these games, seemingly deep into development, are getting canned. The Perfect Dark, Everwild, that MMO, have been in development for a very, very long time and are now just completely wiped off the face of existence in the blink of an eye because of some executive deciding that it was time to close up shop. And a lot of these games were kind of struggling when it came to getting out the door. Perfect Dark has been in development for a long time, and the word on the street has been the initiative is kind of a mess with hitting their marks and getting this game out the door. Everwild obviously announced and then went back to the drawing board, and just we haven't heard anything from it for a really long time, and Rare just can't seem to get that one going, so it's not really shocking that that's been canned. Forza, I do not feel like makes the same type of wave as it did on the 360 and the Xbox One. The Horizon series is really where like that series shines at this point. It's just I wanted to play a lot of these games. I am sad that the work that these devs put in to have their vision come to life is just completely gone now. And I am worried about the future of Xbox, and I don't understand how anybody can look at this and be confident in the purchase of an Xbox in 2025 and in the future. Like, they have so much invested in all of these studios, and it's seemingly making them make tough decisions on who's going to stay and who's going to go. And it makes you wonder, like, what was the point of like the Activision deal? What was the point of the Blizzard deal if they're going to just end up shutting down a bunch of these studios anyways? Like, they are in the position right now to be one of, if not the biggest and most powerful publisher in video games. and it just seems like they're wasting that potential. Like, I don't have any confidence in Xbox's future, and I'm worried about that brand in general, even though I'm excited about a lot of their games. And I hope that they can get back on track and figure this out. There are titles that are coming out in the near future. Keeper that I'm interested in. Next year, Gears E-Day, and the potential of a Halo 1 remake or remaster or whatever it's going to end up being. But is that enough to kind of catapult them off into the future and kind of stabilize where they're currently at? I'm not sure. Will this just continue to get smaller and smaller? We saw it last year with Tango getting shut down and Arcane Leon. And then, no, Arcane Austin. Leon is the one making Blade.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think.
I think Arcane Austin's making Blade. Sorry. Continue on.
And then, so they get shut down last year, and then this year we have a ton more
Right.
closures. And next year, are we going to see the same thing? And is it just going to keep going in this direction? I don't feel confident with Xbox's strategy and the way that they envision the future that this is going to stop, because I do not think they are making the right bets personally. So that's where I'm at with it. This sucks. How are you feeling?
Awful. Like, you and I talked a little bit on Wednesday when all this news was breaking. It sort of rocked me a little bit. I always hate this shit a lot. I hate talking about games in this light and the business side of it, because this just sucks. When it comes to a healthy games market, I've said for a long time, or just like, what is health in the industry? I say great games and people not losing their jobs. That's all I give a shit about. That's all I want, is just great games and people not losing their jobs. As long as we're doing that, I'm a happy guy. And so when we get a mass layoff like this, we see layoffs all the time in the games industry, and it always sucks, and we hate to talk about it, and it's brutal. But when it is this amount of trying to re-charter the ship in the direction that Xbox was going in, from a business level, we can talk about all the business aspects of this, that like Phil's statement, what that was, top end business, where they're going, all that to some level like has some level of reason to it, even though some of it is distasteful and kind of awful. And the direction that they're going in could be the right move with some of the decisions that they made previously. But I really don't give a shit about all that. At the end of the day, 9,000 people working at Microsoft as a whole went in to work Wednesday, and then they got met with, here's a box, get the fuck out of here. Like, there's no getting around the fact that this is just like a reality in the industry that is proving at this point to not be thriving when it comes to bad leadership, awful decisions happening, and now that those decisions are having the ramifications of people that are talented, admittedly talented, losing their jobs. I am kind of disgusted with this, especially now hopping into Phil's basically announcement to a lot of people when it came to it wasn't for the public audience, in my opinion. It wasn't for the people that just lost their job. It was for the people that have stock in Microsoft and need to hear about how that business is going and where they're heading and why this direction is happening, to have some faith in what the business is doing. And the faith is, yeah, we're making more money than ever before. We got more players than ever before. We're doing great right now. 9,000 people just got canned. Like, this is just the fucking worst. It's awful. Obviously, when it comes to the people getting laid off, like as we always say, there's a lot of talent. We hope that there's new stories in the coming weeks of a lot of this talent being picked up by other studios and going to find new places and creating new cool shit. And there's so much talent amongst these studios. You look at a team like a Turn 10, where it's like all they've done is put out high quality titles. I'm not talking about like the high selling titles of all time, but they are great developers. They are great creatives. Hopefully a lot of these teams find that next place and that next home. But like, we know how it is in the industry. We know how it is when it comes to finding these jobs and everything. It's fucking hard. There's not a lot of them. A lot of these people are going to be looking for work for a while, and that's just awful. When I remember talking to friends growing up being like, man, working in the games industry seems really cool. This doesn't make it seem cool. This makes it seem fucking awful. And I agree with the sentiment that if I'm at an Xbox studio right now, I'm fucking terrified. What if Double Fine's Keeper flops? What if The Outer Worlds 2 doesn't deliver?
I think that any of the small studios are probably pretty safe. Like, I don't think that Double Fine needs to be worried.
Hopefully.
I think the fact that Rare still exists is proof enough.
Well,
in my opinion.
We can hop into like what everyone's doing.
The Initiative, way bigger studio, way bigger investment. They have so much more overhead to keep open, and they were probably sitting there like 2-3 more years of development on Perfect Dark. Is this game going to make its money back, or should we just shut this shit down now and kind of cut our losses for a studio that was, before Ubisoft said that Skull and Bones was a quadruple A game? That was the first studio to say
Initiative is the first quadruple A studio ever, man. And now they're shut down. No, this fucking sucks. I hate all this. Like, this is just the worst. And I've had this sort of just like weighing on me for a couple of days. I'm excited to talk to you about it because it is the mindset of, like, this show is meant for news stories on the good side of things and the bad side of things, but it's fucking awful when it is on the bad side of things. Hopping into the games and everything, and the way that this is going to affect these games moving forward. A lot of these Call of Duty studios are going to be moving into support, I assume, and
they've already kind of been that.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Smaller.
Now they're just smaller. Yeah. I think Everwild and Rare, you're going to put Rare on a small title. I wouldn't be shocked if they go and are like, we know we can make some bread with a Banjo-Kazooie something, and just like get one of those out.
Well, the rumor is that
a couple of years.
That got canned or got shelved, a Banjo-Kazooie game.
Yeah, I'm saying that they'll go back to the drawing board just so they aren't only doing Sea of Thieves. Because I assume that right now the conversation is everyone's just doing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And supporting that. Turn 10, they're now Forza Horizon, in my opinion. They're going to just be helping out with that Forza Horizon series.
Why doesn't Rare make Sea of Thieves 2 or something like that?
I think that they are just
updating it.
Updating
I get that, but like it feels like a Destiny situation where at some point you kind of have to hit a reset and get a fresh new audience into this game. And the way you like, I'm not getting into Sea of Thieves right now.
And like, I would try out a Sea of Thieves too.
Yeah, so, if I can get it on the ground floor of something, like I would be way more inclined to get into it. And that's what I think a lot of people are saying with like something like Destiny, where it's like Destiny 3, I think right now would do really well because a lot of people are like completely out on Destiny 2 because there's way too much to catch up on.
Then when we move down the board a little bit, the Initiative, like a lot of this comes down to decisions that I genuinely think that there is some intelligence. You know, like you said with the Initiative, crazy overhead costs for a game that we don't know how much longer that would take. A developer that worked on the cut that we got to see at Xbox Showcase last year was like, this was an engine. It was a vertical slice. You did have to play it a very certain way or else it would break down, obviously, and everything. But like this thing was playable enough. But that normally is your example of old E3. You get the first vertical slice and then 2 years down the line is when that game actually releases and everything. Yeah. So
I don't think that game was close at all.
Yeah, I think 2 years, like 2 years is the hope, but I don't think that we were seeing that next year.
Sorry, go ahead.
And so looking at what that game is going to be, I was like, I understand that. I understand Rare trimming the size because Everwild's not working and it doesn't make sense. I understand this when it comes to shelving another MMORPG.
It apparently was great.
Apparently it was awesome. And same with Everwild. Phil came out and talked about how great Everwild was a couple months ago and getting hands on with it. It's like some of these things are great. They're sort of doing what WB is doing of like, we need to refocus our branding. We need to focus on getting great games out the door and getting them out at a cadence that makes sense because game development is taking longer than ever. It's getting more expensive than ever. It's tough, especially when you don't have people buying your games at an $80 cost often. Mm-hmm. And I, from a business sense, I get it. And from a shareholder sense, I get the message that Phil sent out there. because I think that a lot of people are very, I being one of them, was very hung up for a while, being like, who the fuck is this for? Of like, why are you telling us that you're making more money than ever before? It's like, oh, this is just a reminder. This is not just Phil Spencer, Sarah Bonds, like the top end people making these decisions. They have to go to the higher ups at Microsoft. This was a Microsoft decision to some level, because it is affecting outside the games division and everything.
It just looks so bad when you say like we're doing better than ever.
Yeah,
time to cut all these jobs.
Yeah,
it's like what the fuck are we doing?
It's fucking awful. And so I just keep on going back to the fact of like, I understand that we can talk about how much sense this might make from a business sense, but like, this is dumb. Like, this is awful. Like, I wish that these games were able to come out. I wish that these teams still had jobs going into the holiday weekend. I wish that we were able to go and eventually play some of these games and get excited about them. And now the fact that years of work, I think about often when it comes to layoffs, we're talking about teams. Let's take Rare, for example. There's people that have been working on that game for years and years and years, and they have nothing to show for it. And that is fucking awful. And so I really don't care about the business sense of it. I really don't care about the like why this could make sense, because at the end of the day, it looks like this is such a numbers decision, removing all the humanity from video games. And a big reason why video games are special is the teams that work on them work so hard and put so much of themselves into it to make a special product and something that we get to play and love forever. So yeah, this is awful. Just a couple more things moving down the board. The ZeniMax game apparently seemed fucking awesome too. And like you said, with the MMO, it's like a lot of these like bigger titles too that are now closing up shop, or like ZeniMax is going to be the Elder Scrolls Online. That's it seems like. And that sucks, because when you have a lot
been out for like 10 years,
I know.
It's like, I don't know. You have to imagine at some point they want to make something new.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. That's fucking what they were doing. They presented a good idea. Apparently the idea was good enough to greenlight it. They were working on it. You had people putting creative energy and heart into it. It was working, and then it got fucking canned. And people lost their jobs. Like, that does not make any fucking sense. It sucks. It sucks. I can't be excited about, like, right now, like, it's hard to get fired up about what Xbox is doing. We talked about how awesome their October is. They're publishing games like Ninja Gaiden. We got the Outer Worlds 2. We got Keeper. I mean, even Activision is part of Xbox to some level. You got Tony Hawk coming out. You got Grounded 2 with Obsidian, top of their game. It's like, cool. I'm stoked about that. But for me to look at the games industry and get stoked, it is great games, but people not losing their jobs. And a lot of people just lost their fucking jobs. You got anything else with this one, bud?
No. There's just not a lot to say on this other than this sucks. Like, that's literally like the whole all-encompassing point here. So,
yeah. Headline, Neil Druckman is stepping away from The Last of Us TV show to, quote, transition complete focus on game development, and quote. This is Jordan Miller at BGC. Quote, I made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO, end quote, Druckman said in a statement. Quote, with work complete on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative, end quote. Connor, the show's fucking screwed.
I mean, the show sucks anyways at this point. I'm not really shocked that he's kind of taking a step back now, because I don't think that there's anything that he could do to salvage where the show currently is. I'm excited that he's focusing back on games, because I think that's what he does best. Though the best episode of the TV show in season 2 was the one that he had the most involvement in.
Yep.
So he's pretty good at that as well. I'm obviously stoked for Intergalactic. We know that he's also kind of producing a secondary title at Naughty Dog, and he's the president of the studio. So you have to imagine that's a really all-encompassing job, and the fact that he was juggling that and writing and directing some episodes of the TV show and having creative involvement there is insane. So I'm not shocked by this. I'm not shocked that he's jumping ship when he is. I don't want to watch any more of The Last of Us on HBO, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'll probably check it out just to kind of see the train wreck continue going forward. But yeah, I really did not like this season of season 2. So yeah,
I would say that there's like a 80% chance that the bonus pod covering season 3 of this is Brady and I holding it down because Connor might fall off completely. Like, it's going to be. I thought that the season was. Like I said, as time's gone on, I think that less and less of it. I think that the parts that it sums up to is less than the quality of just like some of the acting and some of the moments in writing and stuff like that.
Don't understand the characters at all. The story isn't the same.
Yeah,
because they don't have. It's a character focused story, and they don't even know who these characters are. And it's just completely ruining all the themes and the messaging of the game. So.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not great. I'm excited to see where they go with Abby's story and everything, because obviously that is just so separate. Like they are able to potentially pivot and
but then
make
season 4 is fucked once you
get back
bring
to
Ellie back into the mix.
Yeah. With that being said, though, Hallie Gross is also stepping away from their creative role in the show, which is and they're focusing on Naughty Dog. I think that that's the right decision at this point. So big ups for them to make the right call. Like, I think that we talk about all the time, things going on for too long, people not knowing when to step away. This is the right time to step away. Like, if Neil was like, I'm done after season 1, I would have been really concerned about what season 2 even would have become. And now that we know what season 2 is, great. You wrote the best episode in season 2. You directed the best episode in season 2. Great job. With that all being said, I think that this is a really good sign of what Naughty Dog is doing. And I think that we are probably 18 months to launch for some of these titles, at least one of them. I'm talking about 100% chance. No, it's hundreds too. 99% chance.
First half of 27, you think?
We get a game in the first half of 27.
100%. You think we get 2 Naughty Dog games on PS5?
Yes.
I don't. I think you get one.
One of them is going to be either Swan Song or launch sort of deal. It might be the launch. Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. The issue is, like, if it's the launch, is it on both for that Naughty Dog title?
What do you mean, the first one?
Yes. Oh, no, the second one. So let's just say we get Intergalactic out. It's 2027. It's late 26. I would assume it's early 27. And then 2028, we get the next Uncharted game. And is that one exclusive on the PS6?
And this is assuming that the secondary title isn't something like the God of War title.
Yeah. Which
I am not confident in now, based off of that direction, that they're having Sony Santa Monica work on a 2D Metroidvania God of War spin-off title. Like, that is not what I expected from a studio of that scope.
I'm fine with
for
it,
a
though.
Franchise that big, like...
Why are you, let's talk about this. Let's diagnose this. Why are you so upset with this? Because, like,
it's just not what I thought it was going to be. I'm not upset with it.
Yeah, because I'm stoked about it.
It's personal perspective is completely different than what I think this means for the studio and how this is going to be received.
Totally.
And what this means for, like, the strategy at PlayStation.
But I
thought you have a secondary team working on something on the level of Miles Morales, and then you have your main team working on the next mainline God of War game. And then with Naughty Dog, I thought it was Intergalactic, and then you have a smaller team making a Lost Legacy style experience. But now we look at Sony Santa Monica, and they have their next game probably, and then they're making a 2D Metroidvania game. It's like, I'm going to play the fuck out of that. People are not going to be happy that that's what they're doing with God of War next.
I mean, 100% when it comes to the God of War IP. How much do you think that game cost, though? I think it costs $40 or $50. And if that's the case, that is the same pricing and direction of a smaller PlayStation first-party title.
You put that next to something like Lost Legacy or Miles Morales, and you're like, those aren't even comparable when it comes to scope and vision, or like even like fidelity.
I would say that's the big thing that people would go and be not happy about, being like, we know that a $50 Sony title is Lost Legacy, Miles Morales, Astrobot. That is what you
Right.
get when you get those qualities. So I understand. But my question was, could this be a $25, $30 title from
Yeah.
Sony? And if that's the case, great. I think it's a lot easier of a sell when it comes to what that studio is doing. I agree that it could be something smaller from Naughty Dog when it comes to this title at this point. That's not my assumption, though. I assume that it will be a smaller title. It will be that $50 title. Maybe it is a $70 title, and they are going back to the Uncharted well. They are going back to
Should be
something
a
like this.
10-hour Uncharted game.
Yeah.
I don't know why they aren't pumping these games out at these bigger studios to kind of supplement the massive 25-hour, 30-hour games that come out once in a generation.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to
We were
get.
we were moving towards that with Miles and Lost Legacy in the PS4 generation.
We also got to talk about the big Last of Us factions in the room, because when it comes to that direction and everything, and that being canned, like
I can't believe that game
it
is never
existed.
coming out.
It's upsetting. But that when we talk about why Naughty Dog isn't here on this generation yet, that's a big reason and everything.
Yeah.
And so just trying to understand the cadence of these things, I do think that getting back to this story, this is Neil coming into the building, cracking his knuckles and being like, let's get to fucking work. Let's these games, I assume, are my assumption with things like the Heretic Prophet at this point and everything else that is going alongside it. I don't know. Sometimes you shoot everything when it comes to VO and motion and alongside some of the game development. Sometimes you do it towards the end. Sometimes you do it at the very start. It can go in many different directions when it comes to that. But I assume that you need Neil Druckman in the room to direct. You need him in the room to be the business head in doing what they need to get done to gas pedal this. Yeah, I think we're 2 years out from Intergalactic. I think there were probably a couple. This random Naughty Dog game could come out fucking whenever. It could. I would not be
It
shocked.
depends
if it
on
came
what
out.
it is.
Would you be dumbfounded if it is the next Uncharted game and it is a 10-hour romp and it's out next year? I wouldn't.
I would be shocked by that.
We don't know how long this game. Well, it's been cooking for a few years. That's what we know. That it's been in incubation for a few years. And normally, a few years in a smaller title, you're thinking around that 3 or 4 year timeline nowadays.
When did Lost Legacy come out? Was
17.
It was a year after?
Yeah, I think so.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah, you are able to develop games, especially I think that the same case is made for Miles and Lost Legacy. Is you have a shit ton of assets that you're able to reutilize. You're not going and getting somebody back in the mocap suit for Miles, example, to swing through New York. You have New York built up. You have a lot of these animations already created.
Uncharted 4 looks insane. Just use the assets again.
I mean,
Make
yeah.
something.
But then you got to also imagine we have to have new characters, new dialogue. I am all in on slight spoilers for Uncharted 4 and everything. The person at the end of that game to be the protagonist. We talk about this often on like what that would be. And that means that you do need to get them in the studio and VO and do what they got to do and everything.
I would prefer. I think a Chloe game makes the most sense.
I
Just
would
because
love
we've
another
already
Chloe
had
game.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a Sam game. I wouldn't mind a young Sully game. Connor, give me a fucking young Sully game right now. I will I just shove money to whomever has that title as soon as humanly possible. I do think though that this is a really great sign to understanding. Before this news, if we were to talk about where Naughty Dog's at, we would say Neil is juggling so many balls right now that it's tough to go and imagine that all the focus is on Intergalactic. I think that maybe even Sony's top end is looking at him saying, hey, you're doing a lot of stuff right now. We need these games out. We need them out now. Like, we cannot have a PlayStation generation without some of these titles. Let's bake in the delays that might come with a major AAA banger title that happens all the time. So if they are targeting that 2026, late 2026 deadline, they're like, cool, we understand it might be mid 2027. We cannot go beyond that, though. We need to get one of these games on here. And I think that the direction of Intergalactic doing that kind of makes sense. The other part of this is Intergalactic shown in 2024 Game Awards, which I like to call 2025 day one, because that's basically what it is. I hate being like the reveals in 2024 when it's even that late and everything. The fact that it's only been a few months, we're 8 months removed from that reveal and everything, we're not seeing this game for a minute, but it is exciting the fact that we are now finally getting towards an area that I feel confident in of, next year, like February State of Play, we could see it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Oh man, it's so much fun on a episode of Casual Gaming News Conversation. Shout out to you watching this show right now, hanging out with us, going through this fun news day. Headline, Donkey Kong Bonanza developer finally confirmed by Nintendo, sparking questions over when Switch 2's 3D Mario will arrive. This is Tom Phillips at IGN. Quote, Nintendo has finally confirmed the development team behind Donkey Kong Bonanza, and as many fans had suspected, the upcoming Switch 2 blockbuster is being made by the same team who previously worked on Super Mario Odyssey. In a presentation attended by IGN ahead of a new Donkey Kong Bonanza hands-on preview, Nintendo said that the same staff who worked on Odyssey also developed this new DK title. End quote. Nice.
Yeah, obviously.
All right, new headline. I like that. Like, it is kind of the dumb moment. The reason I pulled the story, and I talked to Connor about this beforehand, is people previewed this across the industry. Apparently, they were glowing. Where are you at with Donkey Kong Bonanza? We are 2 weeks away from this title.
Yeah.
Where are you at with it?
I'm all aboard the hype train. I'm really looking forward to this one. This is my most anticipated game for the rest of the year. I think it's going to deliver the goods based off of these previews and based off of what we saw from the Direct. And it being the Mario Odyssey team just gives me even more confidence that it's going to be something on the level of Odyssey. Could be up there with the likes of like Breath of the Wild with the quality and Metacritic score potentially. So we'll see when it finally comes out in 2 weeks. But I'm really excited for it.
You gotta be stoked that it's on your fantasy creative team too.
Shut up.
Oh wait. Oh, it's on mine. Oh snap. Give me the belt, Connor. Give me my championship belt. Anyways, I was listening, like I said at the start of the show. I was playing Rematch late last night, and I was listening to the Min-Max podcast, and Kyle Bosman, who works for Jeff and does a bunch of different things. Jeff Keighley said something about Donkey Kong Bonanza. They were doing their anticipated stuff and everything. And it finally clicked for me. Great line from him. The reason people are excited about Donkey Kong Bonanza is that it's something new. With Nintendo, it's not about the single player magical experience sort of deal. It is the fact that it is getting something that we've not seen before that really is holistically only Nintendo. That's what you get when you're talking about what Nintendo does and what they do best. Mario Kart is not something new. It's more Mario Kart. Metroid Prime even would just be more Metroid. Pokemon Legends E through 8 is more Pokemon Legends at this point. We assume that. Donkey Kong is the game that is most likely something we've not really seen before. And how freaking exciting is that?
Yeah.
It finally sat in of, I don't think people have been wanting, they don't need the new single player experience if the multiplayer experience was holistically new. Like if Splatoon was the launch title and we'd never seen the Splatoon game before, I think that it would be talked about in a different way than just, oh, we got more Mario Kart. Donkey Kong coming in, I think that I am with you, 10 out of 10 hype at this point. I love Mario Odyssey, 9 out of 10, amazing game. It is the mission of it could be raining outside. I could have gotten a flat tire. I'd still be smiling playing Mario Odyssey. Like, I love what this team does. I am stoked for this game at this point to the highest degree. Like, and it's so different from the excitement that I have with something like a Ghost of Yotei or a Metal Gear Solid Delta, which are two of my other most anticipated games this year. Because I'm excited about those games, but this is new. And new is relatively always better. Like, I cannot wait to see what is happening with this one. How long do you think that this game takes?
15 hours to beat, to roll credits, and then many, many more to get all the bananas, probably, would be my prediction. Yeah. How about you?
I'm thinking the skill trees and stuff like that makes me think that we get above that 12-hour mark pretty easily. I'm thinking 15 also around there. That kind of checks out at this point.
What is Odyssey?
10 to 12.
No way.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think that maybe we even press to 15 or 20. The fact that these, environments are so open is so insanely exciting. I can't wait to have the radar thing and searching out bananas and seeing what's up and everything. What do we got?
12 and a half hours.
12 and a half
That's
hours.
wild.
Yeah, like
Definitely
that game's
spent
so
way more
quick.
with that.
I beat that in 3 sittings.
That's
Like,
crazy.
It was a great way to spend a summer last year. You know, like that was a super fun game to hop into the backlog and finally get that one done with. And I'm excited to see what's up next with it, because I do think that we are going in a direction with Donkey Kong Bonanza. The hype is at a fever pitch after those previews. And that's the other part. We mentioned that there was previews. The previews were unbelievable. Everyone finally, I think, turned the corner a little bit, going from getting 20 minutes of hands-on to getting the couple hours, and seemingly, or like, yeah, no, this is the Nintendo magic. This is what we want from something like this. That changes, to me, the tune of, oh, this is going to be the 84, 85 Donkey Kong to, oh, this might be the 94, 95, 96. We've talked about it this year, of the fact that we have not had that 94 plus yet. And we, in my opinion, and in yours, even though I adore what Claire Obscura Expedition 33 is, we haven't had the all-timer. And I'm enjoying what I'm playing of Death Stranding 2, and I think you're on the same of like where that could potentially land for scores and stuff. But I still am waiting for the moment that I'm like, it's this game of fucking 10, you know, like, and I think Donkey Kong Bonanza could be exactly that. Connor, in the light of all the bad Xbox news at the start of the episode, we got a fun one from Xbox. PlayStation hit Helldivers 2 is officially coming Xbox with coming to Xbox with crossplay. This is Jordan Miller at BGC. Quote, the online co-op shooter, which was released on PS5 and PC last year, will come to Xbox Series X and S on August 26th, developer Arrowhead announced on Thursday. The game will feature cross-platform play with users on both PlayStation and PC. Both the standard version of the game and the Super Citizen edition of the game are now available for pre-order on Xbox. End quote. Connor, are we getting back into Helldivers?
No, but it is
No.
exciting for this game to reach a new audience. I know that at launch, the Xbox fan base was like really clamoring to get in on Helldivers 2. Exciting that it's finally coming over a year and a half later. Weird that it's coming out on the same day as Gears Reloaded.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't even think about that.
Because
Oh,
they're kind of similar in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people like were comparing those two games at launch with like the kind of just like fun, chaotic third-person shooter. Yeah, I think this is cool that Xbox is getting another banger. Weird that a PlayStation Studios published game is going to Xbox, but we've seen this happen before with stuff like MLB The Show. So it's been long enough that I think that it's just kind of a net positive for PlayStation and Helldivers 2 more specifically at this point to just launch it on Xbox and get more eyes on it, more people playing it. So yeah, exciting.
Get Arrowhead more money.
Yeah.
For their next cool fucking game. That's my thought process on this one, where I think that this is, yeah, it's good for the Xbox ecosystem and getting one of the best games from last year over there. And like you said, a lot of people were asking for it early on. This gets Arrowhead more money to fund whatever their next project's going to be, and whatever the next project's going to be, whenever that Arrowhead logo pops up, you know that you, me, and Brady are all going to be stoked to see whatever they got cooking up. Obviously, a lot of support is going to continue to go to Helldivers 2 for the next foreseeable future, so I don't think they're working on something new right away.
Switch 2. Think this comes to Switch 2 eventually?
I could see it. Yeah,
I think absolutely.
That should happen.
Yeah.
Like, get this fucking everywhere, dude. Like, I think that this is a multiplayer games. I should go everywhere. That's always been my thought process when it comes to player base, because we talked about how important it is to get a player base in as many places as possible, whether it's through free to play or whether it is through getting it on multiple consoles. The fact that PlayStation's multiplayer strategy is we're putting it on PlayStation and we are putting it on PC is smart. Obviously, you want a little bit of level of console exclusivity in there so people remain buying your consoles and everything. But this is a dub. This is a win. I think that this is just like in a major storm, like one of the worst storm I think I've ever seen from Xbox, or one of the biggest storms. This is a nice little ray of sunshine in there to be a little bit positive.
I've seen some speculation that this is like starting a trend of more PlayStation games coming to Xbox. I think this is a very specific instance, similar to MLB The Show, where it's like I think that's a little bit of a different situation because I think MLB and the license, they were like, you have to release this more places to keep the license, and they're like, okay. But I think in this instance, it's a multiplayer game. It's been out for a year and a half. It's not exactly like in. It doesn't have a ton of buzz around it at this point in time that like releasing on Xbox just gets it back in the conversation for more people that like there's just a lot of factors here that I think feed into releasing it on a competitor's platform. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that we're not going to ever see God of War or Spider-Man booting up on on an Xbox console. We talked about the fact that we think eventually they will lock out potentially even Steam to make sure that they have that console exclusivity. I was thinking about this. Last night we're talking on stream with some of our audience. Is it going to get to the point where PlayStation gives so little of a shit about Xbox as a competitor that they're like, yeah, sure. If you want to go through the back end and go on Steam and get an Xbox, and that like, yeah, you can go ahead and do that? Because there's so few Xbox players in general that it's just a little bit more money, but they are dominating that, like getting good resolution home console experience. Do you see that potentially happening in the foreseeable future?
No, just because I think that the selling point for the Xbox being able to play everything on that platform is way too compelling for some people. That like I think that could turn the tide for the Xbox console if you can play all your every game across PlayStation, Xbox, PC on that platform. That I think that they need to keep that in mind. They can't just like be like, oh fuck it, like we're winning so badly right now that we can just give them all of our games. I think that could come back to bite them.
Yeah, but mainly
it'd be good for the consumer, but I'm just saying,
also
like, from a business sense.
It also goes back to the time exclusivity thing that I've been talking about with Xbox for a while. Of exclusivity from a time standpoint, in my opinion, that's all that matters when it comes to exclusivity. Like the fact that these games are going over to PC at a certain point, it's like cool. If you are a PC gamer and you're just you get a little bit more money coming into PlayStation's pockets, more people get to play your cool ass game. But like a big reason that you might want to go and pick up a PS5 is because you played Spider-Man over on PC after having a little bit of delay and everything, and then it's go time to pick it up on your PS5 when Spider-Man 2 rolls around. Like I think that there's a level of it's all right to let it happen, like to allow a exclusive to go over on a timed basis. I think that doing this with Helldivers, like you said, is a one-off. It's not going to happen for the next it's not going to happen with Ghost of Yote,
and they seem to want to experiment with this kind of stuff. They did it with Lego Horizon too, going to Switch. They're getting a little bit more open to putting their games on other platforms, but I don't think it's going to be like the main business strategy for them in the future.
Final headline, EA reportedly expects Battlefield 6 to bring in 100 million players, a number that even DICE devs don't think is feasible. This is Morgan Park at PC Gamer. Quote, 100 million. That's the player count target EA established for Battlefield 6, quote, over a set period of time that included post-launch, end quote, according to Ars Technica. It's an ambitious, to put it mildly, target for a series that's always enjoyed a niche appeal compared to Call of Duty and whose mainstream importance has shrunk in recent years. Quote, obviously, Battlefield has never achieved those numbers before, end quote, an EA employee told ours. Quote, it's important to understand that over about that same period, 2042 has only gotten 22 million, end quote, even at the peak of the series' power with Battlefield 1, as the employee notes, it achieved, quote, maybe 30 million plus, end quote. Connor, this is batshit insane. This is I'm all about lofty goals, dude. We as a channel, we put goals out there. We say we want to try to do this year. We want to try to do that. We try to be somewhat reasonable. This is the definition of batshit insanity. Connor, at the height of their power, they say 30 million. They want a 3x it. 3x it. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
They are basically, I'm all for somebody coming into the room, they're giving a pep talk, they're getting the people going, and they say, anything's fucking possible, baby. Anything's possible. And for this anything possible, they're saying 100 million people? Are you kidding me? That is lunacy. That is redonkulous.
And Battlefield has like waning relevance.
Yeah.
Like 2042 did not do that well. And people, generally speaking, don't like that game very much. So you think you're going to come off of one of your lesser titles and release Battlefield 6 and all of a sudden you're going to pop off more than you ever have? Like, it's. I thought that their peak was probably Battlefield 3 or 4, but it does make sense that it's Battlefield 1. I think that game's great. I just don't know what they're thinking here. Like, Battlefield is in such a weird spot because I don't know what you do to evolve that formula.
They've talked about a battle royale mode coming into this, but also
There was a battle royale mode in 5.
Yeah, like I also think that across the board, you're not getting in at the start of the battle royale
And nobody
market.
gives a shit about battle royale at this point. It feels like
It's asinine. This is am I excited about this Battlefield game? Yes. I want to play this. I'm excited about it. I just it'll come out in the summer next year so I can play another summer fun multiplayer, or in 2 years or whatever, right? Like I like my summer multiplayer games and I want to play another Battlefield, but like,
isn't it supposed to come out this year?
I have no idea.
I thought that was the rumor.
Yeah, there's no date on it or anything. We haven't seen a trailer yet or anything.
Well, we got like it's not like an alpha, but it was like something like that. There's like a closed test or something going on for the future of Battlefield. I remember seeing that.
This is ridiculous. I like that this show is slowly descended into madness from like one of the most serious news stories to be like, oh yeah, like Helldivers is coming over to what the fuck?
Right.
It makes no sense. You want to know what does make sense though? It's a new month, Connor. We're in July. And it's a good time to be alive talking about some video games. Thank you so much to all the lovely members that go over to Patreon and support us at that highest tier. You really do make the show continue on. You keep the lights and mics on. And we are very, very thankful for you. Amazing people like Sura Shellas,
Lumos,
Sunlight Phantom,
V Slashing,
Ooh Gracie,
Chuzar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocketator,
No Fee,
Swampy Bits,
Jackson T,
Sconesy,
Strachan,
Dasgoopy,
Dingleberg Rules,
Hook'em Horns,
Go Nash,
Neutral Sphere,
Easton C,
Stooby Dooby,
We Nuke This Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Cowboy Jesus,
Yogi,
Dom,
Holden M,
Colin C,
Brack,
Voodoo,
Renee R,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Jesse F,
Bad Fellow,
Only One Rufus,
Drifter X1, Skirt Skirt,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
JMAP3,
Ali Benally,
and Kingdom Hearts. What, Connor?
Sucks.
Thank you so much for enjoying this episode of the Casual Gaming News Conversation. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.